Today we're going to show you how to make some beef jerky and chicken jerky. Now today we've got topside roast beef is best value. If you see that, there's hardly any fat on it. You really don't want fat when you're doing jerky because fat only drips into the machine. So get one with the least amount of fat, and whatever fat's on it you want to cut it off. Chicken breasts are the other things. Don't use thighs. If you use thighs, they're too fatty as well and they'll only drip. So you want to use the breasts. So to start with, we get the beef. Now the easiest way is to cut it in half to about strip width. You pop that piece aside and you want to cut across the grain. Okay, so that means the grain will be flowing in one way, and so you want to make it across and cut in about less than 1/4 inch strips, about 4 to 5 millimeters in thickness. And you just put it aside like that, and when it gets too much I just pop it over here. Okay, and now I want to show you how to do the chicken. Okay, and now for the chicken. The chicken you want to cut across the grain, not along that way, because the reason being it's easier to bite off when you're going across the grain. So simple, across here, pieces just like that. Easy work. So I'm going to finish this off camera, and then I'll show you how to make the sauce. Pause. Okay, so whilst you were away, I prepared these and cut it into strips. One little tip, make sure your knife's very sharp. So it's very important. You get easy knife sharpeners from Aldi and different kitchen shops. Really cheap, really easy, and you just run them through and they grind it nice and sharp. So now we're going to make the sauce, and to do that we need 200 milligrams of soy sauce. Now don't worry about taking too many notes. I'm going to put a copy of this down below that you can click on and download a PDF with the recipe. But when you buy soy sauce you need to make sure it's naturally brewed. Kikkoman is a good brand because it has been naturally brewed for 6 months. Soy in general is not that good for you. Soy sauce that's been fermented for at least 6 months makes it good, makes it quite usable. So we're here. And we're just getting 200 milligrams, which is about that much, just under a cup. And then we want 4 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, that old English sauce that's been around for centuries. So, it's a big tablespoon. This is a better size. So 4 of these. 1, nothing's exact here. 2, 3, and 4. Cool. And now to taste, but I find for this amount of meat around about a spoon of chilli, either crushed chilli or you can get dried chilli flakes, either one. And then we want some crushed garlic. This is a particularly good one we get from the local IGA here. So 3 teaspoons of that. Okay, might seem extreme, but it's going across a lot of meat there. Right, and then we want about a teaspoon of ground pepper. So I don't measure this, I just turn it around and round and round and round. And I estimate about a teaspoon. This surprisingly adds a nice little bite every now and then when you're taking. The whole thing about beef jerky is it's preserved in salt. The soy sauce is actually a salt, and it helps preserve it, so it won't go off as readily as normal meat. So that's around about a teaspoon of the ground pepper, and now we stir it in just so everything blended together. Beautiful. And now, to make it easy to mix, we pop it into this container. And we will pop it into these containers. Now, I've just got this bit of paper towel here in case I get a bit on my hands I don't want around me. And so we'll do the meat first. So what I do is put in chunks of meat in there and give it a good swish around. Obviously you wash your hands before this, or get your dog to lick them for you. It's always a good way to clean your hands. Just joking there. And then we pop that into the container, and then we get the rest of the meat and we swish it around. The reason we do this rather than just put it in is to make sure the soy sauce and everything gets in between these pieces of meat. Otherwise you can find some pieces won't be soyed up or salted up, and they won't preserve quite as well. So we pop that in here, and that should leave just enough for the chicken. That's the plan. Pop this over there. We get the chicken. I'll just get the other container for the chicken. And we'll pop the chicken in. Because the pieces are small, you can probably knock it all in together there. Again, give it a good mix. Make sure it gets in between all the pieces. Chicken's particularly good because it's not as tough as beef. Easier to eat, and it tastes really nice as a jerky. So, now all swished in there. Pop it into the container. Okay, we'll bring the beef over. We got the beef. It's about 1 kilo of beef there, and 2 good sized chicken breasts there. And you can see what sauces is left, not a lot, and that's on the recipe. That's designed for this amount. And pour the rest in on top, and as much as you can, just make sure everything's under cover. Don't worry about mixing the meats. It's all the soy sauce will preserve it all. It's not going to be an issue. And then I dry my hands, or get your dog to lick them. Not. And we've got some lids here. And pop the lids on. We're simply going to pop it in the fridge overnight. Needs to go in the fridge for around about 12 hours. There's our carnivorous fridge. So it needs to go in the fridge for around about 12 hours at least. So tomorrow morning we'll wake up and we're going to put it in our dehydrator, and we'll show you how to do that as stage 2 of this. We'll put it in the dehydrator. It takes about 12 hours to dehydrate. So we'll put it on in the morning. At night time it'll be all done, and we'll show you taking it out and putting it aside, and then we can vacuum seal it and show you that. So see you on the next slide. We're back again next morning, and here we are. We've marinated the meat, the beef and the chicken out of the fridge. Been there for about 12 hours. Oh, it smells nice. So now it's time to put in the dehydrator. These are available on eBay quite cheaply. This was about $60 delivered. 5 trays. Just has the lid. The top tray's got a seal. The air goes through all of those, but the top tray needs to go on top and it needs to be filled. So that's the first one we're going to fill. So what we'll do is just move it out of the way for the moment. Grab the top tray, pop it here. I've just got this here to paper towel to clean my hands up, and we'll pop in the beef. It's just a matter of getting strips by strip and lay it out. And you just want a bit of air between each piece. It's no magic formula to it. Just take best advantage of the space, but make sure there's some air in between. If you have little bits like that, just put them aside and make a lump pile of beef later. Just make sure there's a little bit of air in between each of them. I'm a only retentive Virgo, so I tend to do everything neatly and tidily. Drives some people mad, doesn't it, darling? Couldn't possibly comment. Okay, having trouble squeezing that one in, so we'll pop that in there. Okay, that's pretty well that tray filled, right? Just make sure it's flat, it's nothing too critical. Dry your hands and we get the next tray. We pop on top and do the same thing. Yeah. Hi, we're back again. We've got 5 trays of meat now. We've got 2 trays of chicken and 3 of beef, right? We have a little bit of chicken left over. What you can do with that is put it in another batch to do tonight. However, that doesn't seem to be enough. About a tray's worth. It takes up the electricity. The smells in the house go right through the house, so there's good smell, mind you, but it goes all the way through, and the noise. So what we're going to do is eat that, add a bit of chicken to, more chicken to it today, and have it as a meal. You see the leftover marinade, this beautiful soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, garlic, chili and pepper. So we'll just pop that in the container, put a lid on it and keep it in the fridge. Now we can use that any time over the next few days to marinate some meat, or put it in a stir fry, something like that. If you're ever doing pork spare ribs, this is a great sauce because there's no sugar in it. A lot of the pork or the spare rib sauces are just full of sugar. This one got no sugar. It's actually quite healthy for you. So what we're going to do now is, I'll just put these containers aside and bring back the dehydrator. And we now pop the trays on top. Remember the first one we did had the cap on it, so it's got to go on top. So we're putting the beef on top. Doesn't matter which order, as long as this, in this particular model, has a cap on it and it needs to go on top. And now we're going to take it over to where we're going to plug it in and set the timer. And we're back. Shakti's new at this recording thing, and she's just telling me that she's not sure if she actually recorded some of it. So this is going to be exciting when I go to do the editing. We bought the dehydrator out here too, near the back door. We just got it on a portable table. And the reason we do it out here is because the smell, whilst it's nice, it is quite dominant, and it's on for 12 hours. So it lets it ventilate through the back door. It's away from the living area in the kitchen and that, because there's a fan that continually goes for 12 hours. And also in the ventilation, you need to keep screen doors closed, because the smell is really will attract flies, because it's a good meaty smell. So keep any screen doors closed, otherwise you'll get flies that might hover around. Okay, I'm going to set the timer now. Now we set the temperature for a start at around 70 degrees C. Some will go up to 75, and now we're going to set the timer at 12 hours. And this particular model, that's enough, and you can hear it starting now. And that's it. We're going to leave it here. It is now around about 7 o'clock in the morning, and we'll revisit it at 7 o'clock tonight and open it up and reveal our dehydrated meat, which we'll put in the fridge, and some of it we'll vacuum seal and put in the freezer for long-term storage. Okay, we'll catch you tonight. Okay, we're now about 5 or 6 hours into making our beef and chicken jerky. You can see there's 5 hours left or remaining at 70 degrees C. So that's been going. Just give you a bit of a look what's happening inside. Here the beef is drying out. The piece there on the far right was a little thicker than the others, why you need to cut them thin. The other pieces, that piece for example, is quite dark and drying out beautifully. There's still another 5 hours to go. So I'll pop the lid back on. It's going well. Place smells delicious, and we'll catch up with you in a few hours. And we're back again. We've had the jerky going through its dehydration process for a full 12 hours at 70 degrees C. So if you have a look in here, what we set up yesterday, this morning, this beautiful beef has now had all the moisture taken out of it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pop it into plastic containers. Some of it I will vacuum seal, and we'll preserve it for even longer. Little bitey bits there, yummy. We do that. You see that? Quite tough. You can cut little bits off and simply eat it, throw it in. Great to take on a bushwalk with you when you're going out during the day for a snack instead of buying cakes and biscuits. This is a great snack, because when you have the animal-based protein, it'll stick with you all for about 5 or 6 hours and take away the cravings, the need for energy, because your body's utilising that slowly but surely. And then if we go through the chicken, remember we set the chicken up. I'll pack the rest of that later. And that's the chicken, and it turns out beautiful. And it's a little easier to peel off and eat the chicken. So we can pop that in containers. And that's a nice variation on the snack. Like I say, you can do it with any animal product as long as it's low fat. but I have done liver before, as I mentioned earlier, and very, very strong. So we just stick to beef and chicken. It's really nice, easy snack to take out if you need one, and takes away a lot of the cravings, keeps you off the carbs, and you can reduce your weight easily this way. Okay, so once that's all done, we then simply put a lid on it and pop it in the fridge. So I'm going to show in the next section how to vacuum seal it. Thank you. Okay, so we've taken all the beef jerky out and the chicken jerky, and out of 1 kilo of meat, that's what's left after you take the moisture out, and 2 chickens, that's what you get left. So I'm going to do something with that in a minute. A lot of people wonder what to do at the end, because you end up with a grid, a plastic grid, that's quite dirty. What we do is generally just bring them over to the sink, pour hot water in, a bit of detergent. Now the detergent will dissolve the fat, and the water will soften all the particles. If you've got a dishwasher, then you can just put it in the dishwasher and put it on a cycle, and then wipe it when it comes out and let it drip dry, and it's right for next time. But it's good to get the meat off so that we don't get any bacteria growth in there, so it's important. But that's the easiest way we found. And now I want to show you how to vacuum seal. So now we're going to vacuum seal some of the beef for long-term storage. So when you do this, you can just pop it in the vacuum seal bag like so, and you put in an amount that's good for an outing. If you wanted to take some beef protein with you, like if you're hiking or something for a feed during the day to give you sustenance. So that's about, yeah, we'll do that. Pop it down the bottom. Now this little vacuum seal machine I got off eBay for around about $50. You can put a roll in there and just peel these off as rolls, or you can buy bags that are already sealed at one end. So basically we pop it in there, and the end, you've got to watch for creases. Try and keep it as flat as possible. And then we clamp it down that way. So it's clamped down, and we push that button and it takes out all the air out of it. If you take the air out, it's good. You see no more air coming out now. So then we push the seal button. So I'm pushing that, and it's sealing, and it's finished. So I release the clamp, and there it is. Beef jerky. No oxygen in it. It's the oxygen that will cause the rust or the oxidation. And so now without air in it, that will keep 2 to 3 years as is, and even longer in the freezer. So we have a source of in our freezer of long-term beef and things like that. So we just pop it in the freezer, and there it is. In a couple of years I can eat it. Normally too, I also write on it in a felt pen when it was done, like the year and the month, and when it's due by use by date is. So I've got an idea of how long it's been there, so you can use the oldest stuff first. So that's how you make beef jerky. A good healthy protein meal to take anywhere you want, and it keeps for weeks, months, and even years under the right circumstances. Thank you.